Remember that? We'll return to the program in just a couple of minutes. First, though, I'd like to say thank you to all of you longtime WRBL viewers, and welcome home to our many new friends to Columbus's fastest-growing news team, WRBL. We were there, and we're here now.
If I had a Chevy S10, I'd take off for a road rally in Baja and I'd fly across the desert in my rugged S10. And people would just stare, because this truck is so cool. And comes with all this great stuff, including tons of passenger room, you know, just in case. Of course, the price would be just $199 a month with zero down payment. That's $640 a day, which is way less than a small cheese pizza. And I think, man, a deal like that's got to be a mirage. Only it would be real. Yeah, that's what it'd be like if I had a Chevy S10.
Did you know that McMurray Furniture is one of the largest bedding dealers in the Southeast, with over 40 models to choose from? Famous makers like Kingsdown, Sealy, Simmons, and Loving Care. For a limited time only, every bedding set on sale. Save up to 60% off. You spend 1/3 of your life in bed. Don't you deserve a great night's sleep? Twin-size innerspring sets starting at $99 per set. McMurray Furniture, 4435 Milton Road.
Mr. Kelly, it's your broker again.
Stuart, what's the good news? Really, I can't believe the return on this investment. Okay, keep me posted.
That sounds great. How about letting me in on some of your investment secrets?
It's no secret, Frank. Haven't you heard of the international money markets?
International money market. So that's how you do all of this. I didn't realize the potential in all of them.
But you see, at first only banks could trade these markets, but now it's available to everyone. I took advantage of an opportunity, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, but what about the risk?
There is no guarantee, but even with the risk, the potential for making a lot of money is right in front of you. And with the unification of the European currencies, the opportunities are even more exciting.
There's got to be a catch. What do I have to do? Invest $50,000 or so?
Not at all. In fact, recently, you could have turned your $5,000 into $15,000.
Sounds great. I've got to get started right away.
Here's my phone. Call my broker now.
I wouldn't wait another minute.
In Amman, Jordan, a solemn homecoming for King Hussein, the man who held Middle East peace together, seeks his final peace at home.
The final days of the impeachment trial of President Clinton may be at hand. Monica Lewinsky will be heard, but on tape. And a vote on the impeachment could come next week.
And those hassles on high, overbooked, bad food, and rude. Now you may get some relief from unfriendly skies.
Welcome to This Morning. I'm Jane Robileau.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Thalia Assurus. This is Friday, the 5th of February, and Jordan's King Hussein is fighting for his life this morning. The gravely ill leader returned home this morning after unsuccessful cancer treatment in the United States. Jesse Schulman is standing by in Amman with the latest. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning, Thalia. The latest unofficial reports based on sources at the Royal Palace are that the king is clinically dead and on life support. Here in Amman, Jordanians are bracing themselves for an uncertain future. King Hussein was flown home overnight from the U.S., where a last attempt to control his cancer had failed. In critical condition and shielded from the cameras, he was driven to a nearby military hospital. His doctors are saying he has very little time left. In the mosques today, Jordanians are kneeling in prayer for their king of almost half a century. The mood is somber, tearful, as they wait for news that can only be bad. King Hussein has long played a special role in the Middle East, in its wars and in its stumbling search for peace. His personal force was never clearer than when he spoke with searing emotion at the funeral of his one-time enemy, assassinated Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. As he eulogized his friend, it sounded like he was writing his own epitaph, too.
I commit before you, before my people in Jordan, before the world, myself to continue to do my utmost to ensure that we leave a similar legacy. And when my time comes, I hope it will be like my grandfather's and like Ishaq Rabin's.
Hussein's appointed successor, his son Prince Abdullah, is a military man, not a political leader. It looks like he'll have to learn his new job fast. Jordanians appear to like him and support him, but for him and for the Middle East, there are testing times ahead. The biggest question here in Jordan and throughout the region today is whether this country can remain an island of stability without King Hussein. Thalia?
Major questions this morning. Jesse Schulman in Amman, thank you.
Portions of Monica Lewinsky's videotaped testimony in President Clinton's impeachment trial will be played tomorrow on the Senate floor. Lewinsky said she has mixed feelings about the president. She also says that the president told her, "You can always say you were coming to see Betty or bringing me papers to cover up their affair." Betty refers to Presidential Secretary Betty Currie. When asked if the president ever suggested she lie in an affidavit in the Paula Jones case, Lewinsky said, "I don't believe so." The Senate voted to release her testimony yesterday. Bob Schieffer has more.
The plan should bring the trial to an end by Friday week. Senators killed a plan to have Monica Lewinsky testify in person, but they did clear the way for the public to see the videotaped deposition that she gave earlier this week. The action came during a series of procedural votes. House prosecutors pushed hardest to have the Senate hear from Ms. Lewinsky in person.
She does have a story to tell. After all, no one knows more about the majority of the allegations against the president other than, of course, the president himself.
But White House lawyers argued talk of such things should not be forced on the public.
Particularly parents who do not choose to spend one more moment, much less hours and even days, thinking about the president's relationship with Monica Lewinsky.
25 Republicans agreed, and by a vote of 70 to 30, senators decided not to hear from her in person. But by a unanimous vote, they decided videotape of the depositions of Ms. Lewinsky and the other witnesses could be shown to senators and the public Saturday. Written transcripts of the depositions were being taken under guard to the public printer. When White House lawyers wanted to know what portion of the tapes prosecutors intended to show, they got a curt reply.
The appropriate legal response to your request is that it is none of your damn business what the other side is going to put on.
Later, prosecutors seemed philosophical about not being able to call Ms. Lewinsky in person.
I do not know why they find that such a big deal, but they do, and they have rejected it, and so we have to live with it.
So under the arrangement adopted, senators and the public will see excerpts of the videotape Saturday. Final arguments will be heard Monday. Senators will debate the case Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then finally vote on the articles of impeachment and whether to remove the president from office on Friday. Afterward, Ms. Lewinsky sent word that she and her family are pleased that she does not have to go through the ordeal of testifying on the Senate floor. In any case, it looks as if this trial is about to come to an end. Bob Schieffer, CBS News at the Capitol.
Well, there's news within the weather map this morning. Meteorologist Craig Allen is here to tell us about that in the West Coast, anyway,
West Coast again, yeah. Pacific Northwest specifically. We talk about Oregon and Washington State, and you're going to get pelted again. We take you out to Seattle and places in and around Seattle and San Diego now. You're looking at the rainfall there. Doesn't look like much, but you know what? It's raining in Southern California, and that light rain will continue. There's Seattle. There's the needle in the winds with the trees blowing down below it and the street lights rocking back and forth. What's on tap for you? Plenty more. As a matter of fact, this next one coming in on the weather map is even stronger. You can see it right here. This one's going to be a strong one that has winds gusting over hurricane force and lots of heavy wind and rain. We're looking at some ice, a little bit of precipitation around the Great Lakes. There's more rain and snow for the southwestern states as well. From the weather map now, let's go to your hometown.
Thanks and good morning. You're seeing a lot of high pressure and clear skies out there today. And you see high pressure just centered up to our north, and that's giving us a lot of clear skies. Another weather maker to our west. That'll give us some rain come Sunday. Here's your day's forecast. Look for a low this morning of 43 degrees. Sunny skies this afternoon with a high of 68 degrees. Clear skies this evening. What a pleasant time to take a stroll in the evening. Clear skies, partly cloudy tomorrow with a low of 41. I'll have more details on your 7-day forecast in just a little bit, so stay with us.
At least one person has died this morning in a high-rise fire in downtown Baltimore. Many residents were trapped in their apartments while others fled to the roof of the 28-story building. More than 400 people had to be evacuated. There have also been numerous injuries.
This morning, President Clinton is considering sending thousands of American troops to Kosovo as peacekeepers. This as Serb and rebel leaders meet in France tomorrow for a peace accord. But as Alan Pizzi reports, despite the push for peace, Kosovo still remains a very troubled region.
The people are gone from Ratchak, the animals left untended, after more than 40 people were massacred here 3 weeks ago. Now the Serb government is holding the bodies hostage, manipulating the ritual of death as a weapon of war. Ethnic Albanians want to bury victims of the massacre together, here in the village where they died. All we want, those who escaped say, is to bury our loved ones with dignity. But the Serbs say no, and dignity seems out of the question. Serb police dragged bodies from the mortuary to a truck for delivery to relatives. The police insist one relative of a victim must come alone to identify a body, a prospect that terrifies most ethnic Albanians. Only a few dare to come at all to a proposed handover site. Faces mirror their desperation, grief barely controlled, underscored by fear. Amini Bachiri lost her husband and 13-year-old son. They want to erase us all, she says. International monitors labored in vain into last night and throughout today to arrange with the Serbs to hand over the bodies.
There seems to be a lack of will to cooperate in finding a solution to this.
The massacre that turned this ethnic Albanian community into a ghost town provided the final push for the peace talks. Gathering political and military enemies together in a chateau in France to talk about peace will be hailed as a diplomatic breakthrough, if not a victory. But the true measure of that will come when people can return to this deserted village, if only to bury their dead with dignity. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Ratchak.
Federal authorities are investigating a series of anthrax hoaxes in Georgia and in Washington, D.C. A 4-block area was blocked off in Atlanta yesterday after a package claiming to contain the deadly agent was sent to an office building. A post office in Columbus, Georgia, and 2 buildings in Washington received similar packages.
Salt Lake Olympic Committee officials have unveiled a massive reorganization plan for the 2002 Winter Games. Changes call for the board's executive committee to be replaced with a new management group. Utah officials are accused of bribing International Olympic Committee members in an effort to win the games. Remember this? It's NBA basketball. Regular season play begins tonight with players and management hoping to rebuild an image tarnished by a disruptive lockout. And the departure of Michael Jordan adds to their task, but it gives 28 other teams hope that they might actually be able to compete for a title.
Coming up on This Morning in our medical report, find out how snake venom is being used to help some stroke victims. Plus, find out what CBS News anchorman Dan Rather has in common with comedian Gary Shandling. The answer just ahead in Mark McEwen's Entertainment Report.
Hi, I'm Mitzi Oxford. Recently, I had LASIK surgery here at Hollis Eye. In a fast, painless procedure using a laser beam, Dr. Stephen Hollis corrected my nearsighted vision and astigmatism. By that afternoon, I could drive myself, and by the next day, I was a new woman. For the first time in my life, I can see without glasses or contacts. When you're reading weather maps, you don't want to miss a thing. With laser surgery, Dr. Hollis changed my life.
Imagine all the family fun you could ask for under one roof at Colonial Mall in Auburn. This Friday and every Friday, it's Family Fun Night at Colonial Mall. There'll be free crafts, balloons, entertainment, a magician, and 99-cent kids' meals. It's fun for the whole family. While you're here, be sure to browse through more than 60 stores to find that perfect gift for your Valentine. It's all here for you and your family at Colonial Mall, Opelika Road in Auburn. Imagine that.
It's the gigantic rental car disposal sale. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Carl Gregory Dodge on Victory Drive, next to Dolly Madison. If you want payments of $150 to $200, don't miss this sale. Hundreds of like-new 97, 98, and 99 rental vehicles from leading car rental companies have been discounted thousands for this incredible tent event. Choose from Ford, Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Nissan, Plymouth, Mercury, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, Toyota, Buick, and more. Come to Carl Gregory on Victory Drive for the gigantic rental car disposal sale.
Hi, I'm Arnie Daniel, and I'm pleased to announce this month is the 45th anniversary of Daniel Appliance Company doing business in this area. To celebrate, we put extra special prices on all our Amana appliances. This is also a good opportunity for you to see our beautifully remodeled sales floor, where you'll get the same courteous service people have been receiving since 1954. Come help us celebrate and see the great buys on a full line of Amana appliances. That's Daniel Appliance for 45 years, your hometown advantage.
Good morning, 12 minutes past the hour. Fire investigators are blaming a child's carelessness with a lighter for a house fire. That fire on Windmere Street started yesterday just before 6 p.m. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Neighbors say they noticed the flames started in an attic over the garage. So they grabbed the garden hoses and went to work.
And it wasn't that bad, but we thought maybe we could put it out ourselves, but it just kept getting more and more flames. So I grabbed another hose and we sprayed it. And it seemed like an eternity, but actually the fire department got here in probably less than 10 minutes.
Fire officials say the men's efforts helped contain the flames. The fire still caused more than $30,000 in damage. Another Columbus house fire accident seriously damages a home just hours later. That fire happened yesterday at 1235 Sturkey Avenue around 9 p.m. Fire officials say a cooking accident caused that fire. No one was hurt, but the fire caused about $30,000 in damage. 13 minutes past the hour, and meteorologist Chad Gibson is ready with your Friday as well as your weekend forecast. Hi, Chad.
Good morning, Mary. It looks like we have a lot of mild temperatures out there under high pressure. Here's what we have: 46 degrees, dew point at 28. That means a lot of dry air. And of course, the wind north-northeast is also evident that the frontal system passed through us yesterday. It's given us a lot of great high pressure. No clouds at all in the satellite picture. You can see that's some good news because we're going to get a lot of sunshine today. The only clouds we are seeing is just the part of in front of that frontal system that's trying to move across the Midwest and give us some rain for Sunday. So we want to be careful for that. Here's your day's forecast. Lots of sunny skies out there. We're going to see a beautiful Friday, 68 degrees for your high. And, of course, the next 7 days, there's that rain chance on Sunday. So please be aware of that. And, of course, starting out your next week, your work or school week, is looking pretty good. Mary?
Okay, thanks a lot, Chad. Right now, time to check in with our own Brian Sharp, talking about entertainment for this weekend. Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Hi, Mary. Doing good. Last night, did you get to see it? Knievel's son, Robbie Knievel?
I missed it.
I missed it too, and I do have it for you.
Good deal.
Let me set the stage. Motorcycle daredevil Robbie Knievel defied death last night in Las Vegas. He tried to jump from one 13-story hotel tower to another. Without further ado, here it is in case you missed it.
Robbie guns the engine.
That's his dad and his family. This is between the Jockey Club buildings. Not sure what type of motorcycle that is, probably a Kawasaki. He made it! Of course, Robbie, the son of the famed daredevil Evel Knievel. Evel was watching last night. He is in the hospital right now, had a liver transplant. He watched the dare and he said afterwards that he wished his son Robbie would emphasize safety over taking high risks.
Robbie Knievel has achieved what many thought was impossible tonight.
Pay more concentration and more time to putting on a safety show for kids and doing things a little more on a positive basis now that he's so well known. And I think risking your life, gaining the notoriety of the world, losing your life, it's not worth it.
Evel Knievel not doing so good there, Mary. He has hepatitis C. He also, as I said, underwent a liver transplant in Florida last week. But all is well with Robbie, I guess, jumping between those two hotels there and gave everybody quite a scare, but landed safely. Actually, it looks like he landed and then kind of crashed into some hay bales there. See that?
Big crash landing there.
I guess he kind of ran out of a landing strip. What happened, Alex?
He had to crash it.
He did?
Is that the voice of Alex?
Yeah, it is. Why did it?
That's the only way he could stop, or else he'd go off the other side of the
boat. Oh, maybe jump into the pool or something like that. Yeah, Alex, a daredevil in his own right.
So, Brian, I'm surprised here. Dad doesn't really like what son's doing there.
Seems like that Evel Knievel's kind of toned it down a bit, Mary. You know, he was always taking all these incredible risks. Now I guess he thinks that it's really not worth it.
And son Robbie doing it anyway.
Yeah. Hey, coming up 7:45, we're going to have the Billboard Top 10 countdown. Don't want to miss that one.
Okay, good deal. Thanks so much, Brian. Stay with us here on Live this morning. More news and weather straight ahead.
Mary, what's the matter?
It's the little things, John. And it's only once a year.
But where did I go wrong?
You forgot to get me a Hallmark Valentine card.
Don't let this happen to you. Remember, V-Day is Sunday. Arm yourself with a card by Saturday. And only a Hallmark card. That's the ticket. Remember V-Day. You know what to look for.
Bye, I'll call when I get there.
Bye, honey.
Bye, Karen.
Well, there she goes off to the big city.
It's just you and me now.
Got the tickets?
Uh-huh.
If you think a Walt Disney World vacation wouldn't be the same without the kids, you're absolutely right.
My poor parents. I don't know what they'll do now.
Call 1-407-WDisney and make your dream come true.
In search of a new scent, Snuggle didn't settle until he found that clean, peaceful fresh that only comes after the rain falls down. Discover Fresh Rain Snuggle Fabric Softener.
Breathe deep.
Is it cream or Cremora Royale? Cream or Cremora Royale? Introducing a delicious new taste that's so indulgently rich and creamy, don't be surprised if you can't tell. Is it cream or new Cremora Royale?
Crunch this irresistible can only come from one place. Kellogg's Honey Crunch Corn Flakes. Sweet honey and nuts baked on the classic Kellogg's Corn Flakes. A crunch so tasty, so delicious. It gets to everybody. Kellogg's Honey Crunch Corn Flakes. One honey of a crunch.
Oh, yeah, those first ice boats had a lot of speed, but not a whole lot of control. Yeah, with the blades setting early, couldn't steer around the ice fishing holes. Oh, geez, learned the hard way. Wider is better.
With its speed-sensitive steering technology, the White Track Grand Prix gives you precise cornering and control, even at a good clip.
You betcha. Better, better.
Wider is better. The White Track Grand Prix by Pontiac.
Time now for a look at the latest national news. I'm Jane Robelo, reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York. It is 20 minutes after the hour. Tomorrow, Monica Lewinsky's videotaped testimony will be released on the floor of the Senate. Plus, a final vote in the impeachment charges are now expected by the end of next week. Bill Plant is standing by at the White House with more. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Jane. We will hear Monica Lewinsky's testimony, or read it at least, today when it'll be released by the Senate. And some of that testimony has already been made public by the Associated Press. We're told, for example, that Monica Lewinsky is asked if she still has admiration for the president. And she says, quote, "I have mixed feelings." And she is also asked about the cover story that she concocted with the president. And she says again that he told her, "You can always say you were coming to see Betty or bringing me papers." And asked if this was in connection with the affidavit that she had filed, she said, "I don't believe so." But tomorrow will be the nation's first opportunity to see Monica Lewinsky as she testifies in that deposition. All three taped depositions will be played when the trial resumes tomorrow.
Mr. Chief Justice,
when White House lawyers tried to find out which portions of Monica Lewinsky's deposition the prosecutors intend to play, things took a particularly nasty turn.
The appropriate legal response to your request is that it is none of your damn business what the other side is going to put on.
On another front, the White House does seem to be gaining some ground. A Republican-backed plan called Finding of Fact, which would condemn the president for false testimony and for participating in a cover-up, but leave him in office, appears to be losing support. And that suits the White House just fine.
We object to the concept. We're not even going to look at the language because the concept is unconstitutional.
So with Finding of Fact on its way out, the White House is lobbying for the punishment it would like. A vote on the articles of impeachment, followed by a censure resolution, which uses words like misled instead of perjury. Look for a censure resolution to be floated later today in the Senate, probably by Feinstein of California and Moynihan of New York. Then on Monday, the final arguments begin, followed by 3 days of deliberations, or as much as 3 days, and then a final vote Friday. Jane?
Bill, is the final vote Friday sort of a Washington promise, or can people count on that?
Jane, it's beginning to look real. I don't want to go too far out on a limb, but there is this. The senators are scheduled to go on a break, a vacation, beginning Friday. That's one reason why we all believe this might actually be over.
Well, they certainly have good incentive. Bill Plant, thank you. Dying from cancer, Jordan's King Hussein returned to his homeland today. Hussein's private jet landed outside of Amman early this morning. One Jordanian official is reporting this morning that the king is brain dead and surviving only on life support. King Hussein was rushed to the United States 10 days ago for a bone marrow transplant, which was unsuccessful. Before he left Jordan, however, he appointed his eldest son, Abdullah, as heir. King Hussein, who is 63 years old, has ruled Jordan since he was 17. In this morning's medical report from the American Heart Association, 2 experimental treatments that may help stroke victims. Our health correspondent, Dr. Emily Sine, is here with the details on this. Good morning.
Good morning, Jane. Well, strokes occur when blood supply to a part of the brain is cut off, and without oxygen and nutrients, brain cells die, and the result can be paralysis. Now an experimental drug from an unusual source is showing promise in helping stroke victims recover. Researchers say the drug made from the venom of the pit viper snake helped more than 40% of stroke patients recover normal function. The drug is given within the first 3 hours of onset of symptoms, and it works something like clot-busting drugs already used to treat stroke. But in this study, the snake venom was associated with fewer side effects like bleeding into the brain. Right now, victims of stroke have a 3-hour window to receive treatment after symptoms start, but that may change. In another study, researchers showed that the drug prurokinase can be given for up to 6 hours after stroke symptoms begin. Researchers say it shows promise for people suffering from the most severe strokes. Expanding the window of time a person can receive treatment could save many more lives and give more people a better chance at recovering some functioning of motor function.
Most encouraging. I'm listening. Thank you. Still ahead on This Morning, Mark McEwen's entertainment report.
We've all envied and admired.
He's the hardest working guy. He works harder than I do.
Armed with accolades, the lions of journalism gather. But what does Dan Rather think of a dinner in his honor?
Well, I feel like Tom Turkey the day before Thanksgiving.
Was he roasted? We'll tell you coming up this morning.
This morning's health segment sponsored by Carnation Instant Breakfast from Nestle.
Some days you don't have time for breakfast.
My books.
So Carnation Instant Breakfast is packed to go with vitamins and minerals and 99% fat-free. Carnation Instant Breakfast from Nestle. It's a healthy start.
These fries are delicious. Are you sure I can eat these?
Yeah, they're low fat. Got the recipe from Pam.
Pam? I don't know her, but I like her.
Pam really cooks.
Hey.
What's it say?
In the summer of 1999, the flow of time will be disrupted. The restrictions of gravity will be lifted. There's only one question.
The ultimate family vacation this summer. The new Universal Studios Escape. Are you ready?
Over the years, people have learned to trust just one man when it comes to sending flowers. Not me. Him. The FTD Mercury Man.
And not every florist gets to put him on the door. In fact, only the very best do. So when you want to send the very best, ask for FTD by name. From the man who's done it best for nearly 90 years, the FTD Mercury Man. Some of life's best moments come FTD.
Woods aren't the only place predators lurk. If you were being followed, would you know what to do? Make sure your doors are locked, windows up. Don't go home. Drive to where there are people, someplace bright, then lean on the horn and draw attention. For more safety tips, get this free book from Shell. Count on Shell.
You rely on us to get the story, get it first, and get it right. We rely on experience. The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. Experience you can trust.
Have you ever seen a dingo?
I have. But have you seen one do this? It's Stupid Pet Tricks. Plus, does Martha Stewart have a pet trick too? Find out tonight.
Wine labels will no longer tell you just what brand you're drinking. They may also start touting its health benefits. Today, the Treasury Department is expected to announce proposed new wording for the labels that would include health references. Studies suggest that moderate amounts of alcohol can reduce the risk of heart disease.
Many disabled Americans who struggle to survive are being forced to deal with another formidable foe, the federal government. And what they are finding is that trying to be independent often comes with a heavy price. Bill Whitaker has more in this morning's Eye on America.
Please welcome a bright young comedian and actress.
Nancy Becker Kennedy is polishing up her resume tape.
That's a good joke, but I didn't deliver it that well.
Making it in Hollywood is hard for any actress, even harder when you're quadriplegic. She's had some success, a guest spot on the TV hit Third Rock from the Sun.
Until you've seen the world from the vantage point of a wheelchair.
She was the first actress on Wheels with a regular role on a sitcom, the short-lived Louie Show.
I was so worried about money last night, I tossed and turned, which gets very costly because I got to pay that guy to come over and flip me from side to side.
But her humor masks a hard reality. Everything is a struggle. She couldn't survive without this kind of intensive care.
How things are going?
Frequent doctor visits.
The total I owe you now?
Expensive medications, all paid by Medicare and Medicaid. But by law, if she earns a mere $500 a month for just 9 months, this federal life support is cut off. So her big career break could break her.
Everything I should be happy about getting, every opportunity I should be thrilled about, I am scared about. Yeah.
She was paralyzed in a diving accident 20 years ago. Now she's paralyzed by the system.
2, 3. That's good.
Thousands of disabled Americans are pressing Congress to change the policy. They don't want a free ride. They're willing to pay what they can afford. They just can't afford all the care they need. The federal disability policy is rooted in the past, before power wheelchairs, computers, and vehicle lifts.
There's a new kind of disabled person. They're active. They want to work as much as they can. They want to pay taxes. They don't want to get welfare.
If she loses her benefits, her only option is to give up. Give up her career, her independence, and go to a nursing home at far greater expense to taxpayers. It's a role that terrifies her.
There are people in that institution strapped in their beds, lying in their own urine, and crying out to be free.
Life in a nursing home is a future she may face because she couldn't pass up the chance to appear in this Christopher Reeve special, even though it took her right up to her work limit.
You know, my acting teacher told me it's very important that I move on stage because when I do, it makes me seem less paralyzed.
I just said, you know, this is irresistible because, you know, this might turn into a job that would get me away from this for good. So I took it and said, you know, I'm sick of failing.
It seems the system is failing. And until it is changed, Nancy Becker Kennedy must gamble whether the next casting call will lead to fame and fortune or a nursing home. In Los Angeles, this is Bill Whitaker for Eye on America.
Turning now to meteorologist Craig Allen. Winter snow means spring flooding, but you say they can determine just how much flooding.
Very much so. We're going to take you out to Echo Park, Echo Summit out in the Sierra. Snow can be fun for some kids, as you can see right here. There's a tremendous snowpack out in this area, over 100 inches, but it's also work for others. And what they're doing here with inserting this steel rod into the snowpack is measuring, number one, the depth of the snow, and also the amount of moisture that's within the snowfall there. They can tell whether or not it's a heavy wet snow, whether or not it's a dry pack of snow. You can see just how much covers most of the Sierra out there. And they have determined that right now you have about 130% of normal water in that snowfall as compared to what you would have at this time of year. And with more on the way, the fear is in the springtime, there could be flooding. What do we mean by more on the way? It's right here. This storm is going to crash into the Pacific Northwest and bring a lot of snowfall for portions of the Sierra on up through the Cascades and the higher terrain. The southern Sierra hasn't been as lucky or fortunate in terms of the amount of water content or rainfall or snowfall, but the northern sections of the Sierra all the way on up into the Siskiyous and the Cascades, really nasty stuff. This storm here is going to pack perhaps 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts right along the coast. We know it's going to be over hurricane force near the coast as that one gets you, and that's going to cause quite a bit of beach erosion. It's going to cause mudslides, we fear, once again. Look, the ground is completely filled with water right now. It is saturated, and with that, strong winds, trees and power poles are just going to come over very, very quickly. I mean, the trees aren't deep-rooted anymore because of all the water that you have had. Another 4 to 6 inches of rain can translate into several feet of snow in the higher terrain. So watch out for that one, not only today by this afternoon, but into the weekend as well, and very, very heavy mountain snows, as we said, to go along with that. Rest of the United States, it's pretty quiet across the northern plains, the southern plains too. A little bit of rain and maybe a little bit of wet snow up and around the Great Lakes. The northeast has fair weather, but very, very windy, and across the southeast, nice and sunny. From the weather map to your hometown.
Thanks, Greg, and nice and sunny is exactly correct. You have a great forecast for today, a beautiful sunny Friday. A great way to end your work or school week. Look for a high of 68 degrees, and you'll be lucky just to find a cloud. I have your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes, so stay with us.
We have a lot more coming up for you, including Mark McEwen's entertainment report. Stay with us.
The address is CBS. Welcome home.
There's only one eyeglass store.
Now there's 3.
Where you'll find
most single vision lenses and eyeglass frames are still $39.95. Plus, now you can choose from designer frames like Tommy Hilfiger, Joan Collins, and Bugle Boy. One Price Optical Plus, now at Hollis Eye in Columbus, Phoenix City, and Eufaula. One Price Optical, a name you've known and trusted for years, is now One Price Optical Plus at Hollis Eye.
One Price Optical.
If I had a Chevy S10, I'd take off for a road rally at Baja and I'd fly across the desert in my rugged S10. And people would just stare, because this truck is so cool. And comes with all this great stuff, including tons of passenger room, you know, just in case. Of course, the price would be just $199 a month with 0 down payment. That's $640 a day, which is way less than a small cheese pizza. And I think, man, a deal like that's got to be a mirage. Only it would be real. Yeah, that's what it'd be like if I had a Chevy S10.
WRBL, your sports team.
Welcome back to This Morning. I'm Thalia Shuris.
And I'm Jane Rovelo. Parts of Monica Lewinsky's videotaped deposition will be played before the Senate tomorrow. Democratic Senator Christopher Dodd of Connecticut sat in on those depositions given by Lewinsky and other key witnesses, Vernon Jordan and Sidney Blumenthal. He joins us from Washington, D.C. this morning. Thank you for being with us, Senator Dodd.
Thank you, Jane.
You sat in on all of those depositions. Did you learn anything new?
No. There's, as Henry Hyde has said, and other House managers, House Republican managers have pointed out, there's no bombshells here. There's nothing really new. Regrettably, the country's going to have to endure this for a few more days. I had hoped we'd wrap this up by Monday or Tuesday, but it'll be another week, and that's unfortunate, but the country's been patient. I can only urge them to be a few more days patient. This president's not going to be removed, and we're going to have to endure some more talking this weekend and on Monday, but then we'll wrap this up by next Friday.
But House managers, you know, have determined that they are going to show the full Senate some of the videotape. Do you anticipate anyone's mind being changed? Are there some people sitting on the fence that might be swayed by the videotape?
Well, I don't know. That's obviously there's some senators who have not said how they'd vote, and I wouldn't want to try and predict how they would at all. That's an individual choice to be made. And I suspect what you'll get here is some deceptive manipulation of these tapes to serve the arguments here. Senators have had now since Tuesday morning to look at these tapes 10 hours a day. Ms. Lewinsky has testified 23 times. As we've heard, there's nothing new in these tapes. I suspect they'll work the tapes through the editing process to make their case look better than it is. That I would anticipate, but I don't think that's going to fool anybody. This country's already made up its mind. This has gone on too long. It never should have come over here in the first place, and that this president won't be removed.
Well, let me ask you this then, sir. If there really is nothing new and this really isn't important, why is the White House so upset about the tapes being played? You know, why does Greg Craig insist that there'd be transcripts only and no tape?
Well, in a sense, transcripts, you could read them. You could certainly watch the video here. Obviously, in the business of television, we can appreciate what editing can do. The person who controls the editing room can have an awful lot to say what perceptions are. I watched 9 hours, basically, of a little less than 9 hours of all of this, unedited. And members who did this week, I think, were left with a very clear impression there's nothing new here. These people have testified before. We've heard their testimony. To go back through this again really is unnecessary. And this testimony shouldn't be given any more weight than the 22 other times Ms. Lewinsky has already sworn and given oath.
What about Vernon Jordan's testimony, though? He did admit this time around, oh, yes, maybe I did have breakfast with Ms. Lewinsky once they produced the receipt for that breakfast. Was that a bombshell to anybody?
No, not a bombshell, and he has a very different recollection of what occurred at that breakfast, and there's the two people who disagree about that. That's what you're going to get. You have the same thing. We didn't call Betty Curry. The Republican managers didn't want her here, yet she would have been a critical witness, I suppose, if you're interested in truly trying to get at a difference in testimony. So we're basically down here to sort of a show trial. This has become far more political at this particular point than legal or judicial, if you will, in the Senate. So the good news is it's going to wrap up. The second good news, we don't have live witnesses on the floor of the United States Senate. And I promise you this will be over with by next Friday.
Now, we're hearing word that Senator Daschle has asked Senator Feinstein and Senator Moynihan to come up with some sort of censure resolution. Any chance that that might pass? Might that be a compromise?
I think there's about a 50-50 chance of that. I have some reservations about it, but most of my colleagues on the Democratic side are in favor of it, and I think some Republicans are as well. My reservations about it are not that this president ought not to be censured. In fact, he has been. I'm uneasy about a single House censure resolution that could do some damage to the presidency. That institution's already been damaged by what's happened over the last year or so. We don't need to do more damage to it by single House censure resolution, so I'm uneasy about that, and I would say there's a 50-50 chance it would pass.
Some of the Republicans, however, have said that they just want to make sure that the president doesn't get off scot-free.
Yeah, well, he hasn't.
Do you think many, well, as history would record it, other than the impeachment, do you agree, though, that do many of your fellow Democrats feel that there should be some sort of slap on the wrist?
Well, some do, and that's why I think there's a lot of support for a censure resolution, but let me emphasize to you, this is an impeached president, only the second in our history. He's done damage to himself. He'll forever be known as the impeached president. And so the suggestion he's gotten off scot-free is just foolishness. There's no way in the world you can make that claim about this president. He's been damaged, and his reputation has been for all of history.
But if you look at an impeachment as an indictment, and then you say, I went to trial and the jury found me not guilty, then that's pretty much getting off scot-free, isn't it?
Well, you don't erase the House impeachment, and that is on the books and will remain there forever.
Do you have any feeling about when this thing might actually wrap up? I understand that you all are set to go on vacation. Can we really, this time next week, can I say, congratulations, Senator, it's all over now?
Well, I don't know if congratulations is the right word. This has been a painful process. But, Jane, I can pretty much guarantee you that this will be over with by next Friday. I'm sorry it's not over with on Monday. It should be, in my view, or Tuesday. But I'm almost certain it'll be concluded by next Friday. Now, we've said that in the past, and you and I know that, unfortunately, this thing could go on. But I'm very hopeful Friday will be the day we'll vote on these articles of impeachment.
What do you anticipate being a cog in the wheel of that process?
Well, we all are. The people who've been through this, this has not been a good time for the country. And we had the tragic news of King Hussein on life supports this morning. There are other issues we've got to deal with. The Middle East is going to be a major one now, and we've got to get back to work here. The country sent us down here to deal with the issues that they care about every single day. They've told us they want this over with, and we ought to wrap it up if we can. We know what the results are here. This is now what we're going to go through as a process really to provide some political cover for people, and that's not as it should be, but that's as it will be. And then I'm hopeful we can get back to work on the other issues that people care about.
Yeah, hopeful. I mean, and finally, Senator, once this is all over, can we close that door, and will we be able to get beyond this?
I think so, and I think in the Senate at least, this is an institution that only works when there's bipartisanship, and we've got to deal with Medicare and Social Security and education and a lot of other questions people want us to grapple with. The Middle East certainly is going to be a major issue this spring, and we need to roll up our sleeves and put as much energy into that as we have into this.
Senator Chris Dodd, thank you very much for joining us with your perspective this morning.
Thank you, Jane.
Coming up next on This Morning, people try to avoid it here on Earth, but now NASA is set to launch a probe to search for dust in space. There's more to This Morning.
For dental care, come to the Columbus Dental Center. The Columbus Dental Center features general dentistry, dentures, and partials. And with an in-house lab, quick one-day service on dentures and acrylic partials. Also available, gold crowns, relines, and repairs. The Columbus Dental Center has reasonable prices and offers your choice of economy, premium, and custom dentures. For an appointment, call 324-1500 or come to the Columbus Dental Center on Macon Road next to the bank by the square.
When the market throws you a curve, it's hard not to react. Smooth ride today turns bumpy tomorrow. Here's a way to keep your financial seatbelt fastened. SunTrust, a firm with over 100 years of investment experience, successfully guiding clients through all the crashes and corrections along the way. But we don't just hand out quick fixes. We develop individual strategies that'll make sense now and further down the road. So when you're ready to buckle up for the long haul, call SunTrust and see what investing can be.
Good morning. 18 minutes now before the top of the hour. Here's a look at local headlines. A suspicious package appeared at the Columbus Post Office on Milton Road yesterday. Still, many questions remain unanswered. Postal workers discovered the business-sized letter and what appeared to be the biological chemical anthrax around 9:30. The envelope has been sent to Atlanta to be analyzed.
It's a cinnamon-colored substance in a powdery form that I understand is a similar color to anthrax, so it was a little more alarming than normal, and it was immediately...
The assistant postmaster opened the letter. He and other workers who may have come in contact with the substance were scrubbed for protection. Authorities tell your News Team 3 that there are serious repercussions for anyone involved in a mail threat. Depending on the results of the investigation, the person responsible for the anthrax threat could face life in prison. That's even if the scare turns out to be a hoax. Right now, meteorologist Chad Gibson is joining us with a check of your forecast for this Friday. Hi, Chad.
Good morning, Mary, and what a great forecast we have. Our current conditions are relatively mild. Look at 45 degrees for your temperature. Look how dry it is, 28 degrees, giving us only 51% relative humidity, and that's indicative of some high pressure, as you see on this chart here. What we're going to expect for this weekend, that's the big question. Well, right now, this afternoon, we're going to see this frontal system begin to move out through the west, and as we get through Saturday, we're going to see that frontal system drag all the way through the Midwest, get right over us, and really depending on where this warm front ends up and where we get, we'll start getting that warm, moist air out of the Gulf. Some of the northern portions of Alabama, even in Tennessee, we'll probably get some rain showers late tomorrow. Looks like for us, we're just going to get some cloudy skies tomorrow. On Sunday, we're going to start seeing some rain out of this lower pressure system that's moving right up the front out of Texas. So not some good news for your weekend. For your day's forecast, here's what you're looking at. Lots of sunny skies and looking for a high temperature of 68 degrees. So yet another great day. Mary?
All right. Thanks so much, Chad. Appreciate it. Right now, time to check in with Brian Sharp. He's joining us in the WRBL studios this morning. Brian, I hear you've got little music ready for us.
Yeah, I do. That coming up in a second, Mary. I was just checking my horoscope. It says I've got a shot at the jackpot tonight. What do you think? What do you think that means?
I don't know.
Pick some numbers.
Oh, okay.
I guess. Yeah, we do have the Billboard Top 10, if we could take a look at that. Coming in at number 10 last week was Jumper, Third Eye Blind. That's a nice song. Also at number 9, Angel by Sarah McLachlan. That's a pretty song.
That is pretty.
Yeah. Slide, the Goo Goo Dolls, coming in at number 8. Checking in number 7, Whitney Houston's Heartbreak Hotel. And then everybody's favorite, the Backstreet Boys. All I Have to Give. Brandy coming in at number 5 with Have You Ever. And then there's Cher. You know, Cher sang at the Super Bowl, Mary. Sang the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh.
Here she's singing Believe, her number 4 song. Deborah Cox, Nobody's Supposed to Be Here. Baby One More Time, you know, Britney Spears. And the number 1 song last week was Monica's Angel of Mine. No country on that one, Alex. This is the Billboard Top 10.
Ah,
for,
okay. Alex wanted to hear
Alex, you want country? The number 1 country song this week was Stand By Me by Joe D. Messina. You know, is that a he or a she? It is a she, Joe D. Messina. Also want to tell you about some of the top 5 Latin tracks.
Okay.
Cri by Trianos del Norte was number 5. Escondidos was number 4 by Olga Tanon. Tu by Shakira was number 3. Nunca de Oliverarde by Enrique Iglesias was number 2. And Ese, numero 1 was Jerry Rivera.
Gracias. Thanks a lot.
De nada. And also on a... What? Okay. I want to tell you the top 5 rap singles real quick. Pushing Weight, number 5. Number 4, More Freaky Tales. Number 3 was Woof by Snoop Dogg. Ghetto Cowboy coming in number 2 by Mo Thug's Family. And Cool Breeze had the number 1 rap single last week, Watch for the Hook. Watch for us next week. We're going to have a week of love here on WRBL as we get ready for Valentine's Day. It's going to be exciting and romantic. Mary, back to you.
Wow, an exciting and romantic week next week.
Yeah, baby.
Whoa, okay. Thanks a lot, Brian. Stay with us here on Live this morning. More news and weather straight ahead.
At the Casita Road Church of Christ, we are striving to build a church that is sound in doctrine. Evangelist Elliot C. Glasgow invites you to worship with our assembly on Sundays at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. and at Wednesday evening service beginning at 7 p.m. Casita Road Church of Christ is friendly in spirit and aggressive in work. You are always welcome at Casita Road Church of Christ at 3013 Casita Road, Columbus, Georgia. For more information, call 682-8106.
Your local distributor of Jazzy and Pride electric wheelchairs is Independent Living Aids of Georgia. Independent Living Aids can show you how affordable and easy mobility can be. They bill Medicare and Medicaid and most insurance companies. Whether it's manual or electric, Independent Living Aids can demonstrate a variety of equipment needed by the disabled and handicapped. If you need assistance or know of someone who does, give Independent Living Aids a call at 327-5613 or see them at Warm Springs Road and Armour Road, Columbus.
At Colony Furniture Leasing, we specialize in providing complete furniture packages to the area's leading apartment communities. And now we are offering large amounts of previously leased furniture for unbelievable prices. This furniture can be yours at a fraction of what it would cost new. Sofa and love seats from $99. Dining room sets from $69. Bedroom suits from $149. Washers and dryers only $249 for the pair. TV and VCRs $99. Colony Furniture Leasing, 4883 Milgen Road.
It's the gigantic rental car disposal sale. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Carl Gregory Dodge on Victory Drive, next to Dolly Madison. If you want payments of $150 to $200, don't miss this sale. Hundreds of like-new 97, 98, and 99 rental vehicles from leading car rental companies have been discounted thousands for this incredible tent event. Choose from Ford, Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Nissan, Plymouth, Mercury, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, Toyota, Buick, and more. Come to Carl Gregory on Victory Drive for the gigantic rental car disposal sale.
National News, I'm Jane Rovelo, reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York. It is 10 minutes before the hour. This morning, Congress is taking up the plight of airline passengers. From bad food to rude service, a proposed Bill of Rights is aimed at making the skies a little friendlier. Bob McNamara reports.
With more than 500 million passengers each year crowding America's airports and airplanes, customer complaints of overbooked flights, understaffed airlines, and bad service are echoing in the halls of Congress.
Air rage does, in fact, feed on shoddy service. If you consistently give the passenger, the consumer, short shrift, that's going to take a real toll.
Today, the first of several bills to give air travelers a Bill of Rights is expected to be introduced in the House and Senate.
Passengers ought to have the right to adequate information about fares. We think they should be protected from arbitrary actions like being canceled at the last minute.
Whoever said getting there is half the fun wasn't stranded by the Northwest airline pilot strike last summer. They weren't in snowy Detroit last month, stuck in a Northwest debacle that saw 5,000 passengers sit on 29 planes for up to 8 hours and then be delayed for days.
I'll never fly Northwest again, never.
Proposed travelers' rights bills include rights to refunds, information about delays and diversions, and courteous service. If an airline is found guilty of not complying, the FAA could impose fines of up to $1,100 per passenger per violation. Still, industry experts say it will all be tough to police.
They can't put him in jail for not saying hello to somebody. So it's a good idea, but I don't think it will have any teeth in it, really.
Experts also doubt sites like this will disappear, better service or not. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Dallas.
Mark McEwen's here with this morning's entertainment report. Money back guarantee if you don't like it. And courteous service.
The viewer's Bill of Rights. Good morning, Jay. Morning, everybody. What do comedian Gary Shandling and CBS anchorman Dan Rather have in common? Both were honored last night at the Museum of Television and Radio here in New York City. Their gala dinner was held at the Waldorf Astoria, which was packed with well-wishers. The best of broadcast news and Hollywood's elite came out to celebrate. Comedian Gary Shandling was honored for keeping Larry Sanders fans in stitches.
I got a lot of options from right here.
Gary is one of the bravest, and I'm being serious now, one of the bravest comedians we'll ever see.
Oh, I'm fantastic at taking, what is it called? Praise? No, I'm not good at taking praise at all, seriously. Except for my therapist.
I'm standing on the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan.
Dan Rather's highlights were a walk down memory lane.
Place to be, the sights and sounds.
We've all envied and admired him.
He's the hardest working guy. He works harder than I do.
Rather wasn't quite comfortable with all the flattery coming his way.
Well, I feel like Tom Turkey the day before Thanksgiving. The only way I could be more nervous about this evening, this dinner, is if I were going to be the main course.
Congratulations to Dan and hi CBS.
He's kind of unstoppable and has this wonderful ability to persevere and press on, and you have to admire it.
I'm happy, I'm flattered, and also, you know, I think the name of the place, perhaps given this, should be the Museum of Television, Radio, and Shameless Flattery.
You can see Dan, of course, tonight on the evening news. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Dan. Let's take a look ahead now to Saturday morning.
Hi, I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Dawn Stensland. Coming up tomorrow, selling or buying in cyberspace, tips for online auctions.
Plus proof that everyone does have a story. And don't miss our chef and his shoestring. We'll see you tomorrow on CBS News Saturday morning.
Coming up in our next hour of this morning, science gives nature a hand in creating a healthier egg. It's a new generation of good-for-you eggs and omelets in our series Heart Score 99.
This morning's entertainment segment sponsored by Zales, the Diamond and Valentine gift store.
Now through Valentine's Day, Zales has a great selection of diamond heart pendants. Like this half-carat pendant, just $1.99 at Zales stores nationwide, or shop online at zales.com.
Cleaning your teeth, protecting against plaque and tartar buildup, and prevention of gingivitis is crucial. You got that, Ellie Mae? Regular use of Dentabone has been clinically shown to reduce gingivitis. Just look at the difference it made in these two dogs. I recommend Dentabone from Pedigree.
For a bad head cold, I don't want to deal with one medicine for sinus pressure, one for runny nose, another for headache. I want one pill.
Introducing Comtrex Acute Head Cold. Now complete relief all in one pill. New Comtrex Acute Head Cold does it all.
Women love shampooing with Clairol herbal essences, reveling in the natural botanicals and organic herbs.
Yes, yes!
But we'd also like to remind you, men like it too. Herbal essences, a totally organic experience.
Tweety, I really don't think you guys are relatives.
I do.
MCI 5 Cent Sundays helps me keep up with my Space Jam buddies. He doesn't even have feathers.
But we have the same last name.
It's just 5 cents a minute, every Sunday, along with low rates all week long. But just because he's Larry Bird and you're Tweety Bird doesn't mean you're related.
I don't know. We look an awful lot alike.
Call 1-800-SUNDAYS to become an MCI customer.
Make tracks to Midas for a brand new genuine Midas battery. Only $39.99 after rebate. There you go. Go Midas.
Hershey's Taste Stations. When Hershey makes a hard candy, it's hard to resist. Hershey's Taste Stations.
Life is about turning the things you want to do into the things you've done. It's about saying, I will, instead of, I wish. When you want to make the most of every day, start each day with a crunch of Kellogg's Smart Start, the nutritionally charged honey-sweetened cereal. Tomorrow means never. Seize the day. Kellogg's Smart Start.
What do fuel tank fires in GM cars and Bill Clinton's nemesis Ken Starr have in common? Tune in 60 Minutes Sunday, and we'll tell you.
After an accident,
You're saying what happened is my fault?
a family struggles to stay together. Hallmark Hall of Fame's Night Ride Home. World premiere CBS Sunday.
Wrapping up our first hour this morning. Now, if you can't find the right words to express your love on Valentine's Day, help is on the way for you. Students from Bowling Green State University will literally put the words in your mouth, but for a price, of course. Now, for $3, these published poets will come up with the perfect 8-line verse for your own Valentine. If you need a few more words, that'll cost you a few more bucks, but should be worth it. The money raised will go to supporting the university's award-winning literary magazine. Doctors in Israel decided to do a CAT scan on a real cat, actually a lion cub. The 6-month-old named Shiraz was given a sedative before undergoing this high-tech procedure. The doctors want to compare the skull and brain of this healthy cub with another lion cub who's not doing so well. Now, after the procedure, a still groggy Shiraz was wrapped up in hospital sheets, taken back to a safari park outside Tel Aviv. Coming up in our next hour on This Morning, all those hassles of air travel, from overbooking to cramped seats to some of that rudeness, where we're going to look at all of those problems, and we're going to look at new legislation which is aimed at dealing with every single one of those problems. Then our series Heart Score 99 shows you how science has transformed foods that used to be bad for you. So stay right there. There is more to This Morning.